We start the sessions with an invocatory prayer just to switch our attention, turn our attention from the external to the internal. So that's the idea of the prayer. And it seems there was an old lady was seen by a group of youngsters searching for something on the street. He's been in, searching something the night. She's searching something on the street light. So when these boys saw that old lady searching, the kids, felt so sorry for her and went up to the lady and asked her, "What is it that you are searching? You seem to be really, lost something. What is it?" The lady said, "Kids, I survived by stitching the clothes, the torn clothes. I have only one needle to stitch the clothes, and I have lost that needle. That's what I'm searching." And the kids felt so sorry for her. They said, "Okay, we will help you out. It's dark and it's not enough light there, but under the street light, we just have to search." So we just said, "We will search." So in another about 10 minutes, these boys were all searching. About 3-4 of them were all searching for the lost needle. 10 minutes passed, and a couple was passing by that side. They stopped and they said they saw this 4 boys, youngsters searching for something. They asked, "What is it that you are searching?" They said, "Needle. We are searching for a needle." And they got down and they started searching. And after some time, there is a middle-aged man walking by. He saw these people, searching something. He asked, "What is that?" He said, "We are searching for a needle." And in about half an hour's time, there are about 30-40 people searching for the needle. So when one wise man was passing by that side, he stopped. He inquired, "What is it?" They inquired a man, said, "What are you searching?" He said, "I'm searching for a needle." "Whose needle?" He pointed to another fellow. "He is searching, I was also searching." Then he pointed to this person, this, and finally it came to that old lady. Who's lost the search? That old lady had lost it. So this man went up to that old woman, sitting in the corner. He asked her, "Where did you lose that needle?" She said, "Inside my hut." A fellow got really annoyed. "Hey, you lost it inside the hut you are searching in the street?" She said, "Yeah, I know there's no meaning, but then what to do? There is no light inside the hut. There is light only here." Yeah. The old lady's argument was light is only on the street. There's no light inside the hut. Therefore, to search you need light. No. Yeah. Now, how much ever this lady is going to be searching for that needle, no matter how many entire humanity can come and search for the needle, you can't find it. Why is that? You've got to locate. You have to find where you have lost. You can't search somewhere else. Now, that's what we are all doing. What is the blunder of every one of us is you have lost something somewhere and you are searching it somewhere else. What is it that you are searching? That way, none of us have any doubt. Everybody has only one thing. What is it, sir? Everybody is searching for happiness. Everybody wants to be happy. That's all. It's just a question of with what I'm going to be happy. That is a variation. That differs from person to person. One person says, I'm so happy with a single bedroom house. Another fellow says, it's not enough. I need minimum is a triple bedroom house. Another fellow says, I need at least a house. Another fellow says, I need at least an island. You see, one fellow says, I need an island, he says. That's why they say, the tennis player, Bog, he had 7 islands, it seems. In those days, he used to say, God, this fellow played tennis and earned 7 islands. You can't buy like that. No, it's so interesting. One person says, with a child, I will be happy. Another fellow says, without any kids only, our life will be happy. That's what every couple, newly wedded, they say, we will live for 3-4 years happily. And then, so as far as they are concerned, what? Child means it is a pain. It is a problem. Therefore, they postpone it. Then there are a group of people who say, how can life will be without a child? Now, one fellow wants to do anything just to click a photograph with the lady. Same lady, divorced and married 7 times. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor married 7 times, which means 7 times divorced. Well, that means what? 7 fellows say, you can't live with this lady. It is better to stay away. And there are fellows who do anything just to take one picture. Now, how you are searching may vary. With what you are searching may vary. But one thing all of us are sure. What does it say? Every one of us are searching to be slightly happier than what I am today. It's not that today you are miserable. I'm not saying today you have to be living a miserable life. I hope not. But even the happiest man who is aspiring to be little more, that little more goes on and on and on. Now, Vedanta says, where you are searching to find that fulfillment is in the wrong place. You are searching it in the street. You are searching it outside. Your argument is exactly like that old lady. He says, why are you searching there? Because street alone light is there. There's no light inside the hut. You are also searching in the world. Why? Because you know only the world. Since you know the world, you search in the world. You know not where else to search. That's what author Schopenhauer says. It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else. Beautiful statement of his. It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else. It's a fascinating idea. All of us are doing what? Searching it everywhere else, except within. Now you may wonder, what is a proof that happiness is within? What is the proof? What is the logic, sir? On what basis we are saying happiness is not there outside, happiness is only inside? Now, when you say inside where? Yeah, you say within. Within means inside the body. Inside the body means what? You got to tear open. Like you see some pictures, Hanuman, tear opening, his chest, and you can see Rama, Sita inside. Is it happiness sitting somewhere inside your body? Where is it then? Now, this is where Vedanta comes into picture. Now, people claim that's the difference between general knowledge and a particular knowledge, technical expertise. It's like a mechanical engineer is different from the roadside mechanic. How much do you pay to the roadside mechanic? Whereas, how much would you pay to a mechanical engineer from IIT? There is a difference, right? What is the difference? Now, if you say I just wanted to take, my tire was flat. I need to fix that. You don't need a IIT graduate for that. Even your street corner, there is a mechanic. He will fix it. Similarly, our life problems also, as long as it is simple like this, any common man will be able to handle it. But when it comes to this technical, we should be able to see the difference between systematic knowledge and generally knowing things. This is called generally knowing. Everybody says, yeah, happiness is within. Happiness is within. The moment you turn back and say, within means where? For that is where Vedanta starts from analyzing what is known to you and gradually directs you towards the unknown, instead of starting to explain that unknown with unknown things. I'll just explain what I mean. As people, God, for example, reality, consciousness, pure awareness, these words we use. But unfortunately, most of these words do not communicate any meaning to you. You see, it doesn't communicate anything to you. What is that you are understanding when I say happiness is within you? It is in the pure consciousness. The pure consciousness is of blissful state. What do you understand in that? We just use words, you see. Love. What is love? Don't talk about all that. Love. Love everybody. Do you have any problem loving everyone? No problem. Be compassionate. No. What is being compassionate? What is being in love? How much love you want? I remember one girl, she gave a reply. Outstanding reply. I have not seen anyone giving that sort of a reply. In fact, how much you love? I asked. She said, it's only 3-4 year old child. Okay, don't get ideas. And I say, I asked a girl, she gave this reply. I'm not, don't get ideas, please. Okay. Asked a tiny tot she was. Asked her, do you love me? She said, yes. You like me? He said, of course I like you. Asked her, how much? How much you love me? How much you like me? Uh, she paused for a second and law, she said. And then I will say after 3 days. How much you love, she has to say what? So for next 3 days, I have to keep saying what? Law, I have to go on. In fact, she said, I can't keep doing this, man. After 3 days, I will say it. That much I love you, she says. I said, what do you understand? You see, we don't, God loves you so much. You say, how much God loves you? How much love? How much of this? Immediately we use the word infinite. You see, God is infinite love. This is how much happiness you want, infinite happiness you want. That's what you call it as unending, uninterrupted, always happy. Right? How long you want to be happy, sir? Always happy. It's not that nobody goes to a psychiatrist saying, sir, can you do an analysis on me? Why? Because for the last 3 years, I've been living a happy life. Can you test what's wrong with me? No. For 10 days, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, you feel disturbed, morose, depressed. You go to a psychiatrist and inquire, find out what's wrong with me. Why do you do that? Why is it that you never get bored with being happy, but you can't stay with sorrow forever? You want to quickly get out of sorrow. Why? It is not only you as an individual, please. This behavior is happening with all human beings. It is happening to all people, irrespective of your country, whether you are rich, poor, tall, short, man, woman, educated, uneducated, modern, ancient, anywhere. Nowhere a human was normal, feeling comfortable, staying in that thing of disturbance. He cannot. Sir, all of you do experience. Forget about all these things. Okay, it may be too philosophical. Okay, I'll ask you a simple question. Whenever you have experienced anger, right? How long you are able to stay in that anger? The peak of anger is there for how long? It's only for a few seconds. If you observe carefully, it's only that few, maximum 30-40 seconds. That's about it. If you are left alone, you'll become normal. The problem is people around you will never leave you alone. That is a time your wife will come and ask, why are you shouting? Relax. Already you have BP. That's where your BP shoots up again. You know, they keep quiet. No. The fellow is angry. You keep quiet. That fellow will get quiet automatic. You see. But why is it that you can't stay in anger for long, whereas you can stay for longer period of time in forgiveness, in love, in compassion? You don't get bored with that. Why you don't get bored? Why you are not, saying, I want to get out of it? How long ever you stay there, you feel that's normal. Normalcy is what, sir? Happiness is my normal state. This is your belief. Remember, Vedanta is not saying that. Now, everybody thinks Vedanta says no. This is what your belief is. Vedanta is only showing a mirror to you. Remember, all the Shastras, the scriptures, show mirror to you. It will only show what is standing in front of it. So you go and stand in front of the scriptures. It shows what is it that you are seeking. That is what these people call, in a technical language, they call it as Purusharthas. They say Artha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the 4 Purusharthas, they say. What is it that every human being seeking in his life, sir? 4 things. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And very interesting construction that is. Factually speaking, in your life, you are seeking only 2 things. What is it that you are seeking, sir? You are seeking Artha and Kama. Artha means wealth. Kama means enjoyment. All that you are seeking in life is to acquire something and enjoy it. That's called Artha Kama. Artha Kama means this. And beautifully they placed it. They said, your pursuit of Artha Kama should be happening within the boundaries of Dharma Moksha. You see, if that boundary is not kept, then it's a problem. It should be sandwiched between Dharma and Moksha, your pursuit of Artha Kama. The problem is the difference between a materialist and a spiritual person is only this: who keeps that maximum minimum balance. within that frequency of dharma and moksha. Keep pursuing your arthakama. So it is not that Vedanta or this subject is against the pursuit of arthakama. It is not that they say, no, 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 you should not pursue anything. Don't acquire any wealth. Don't acquire anything. Everybody live in the streets only. It's not like that, please. You see, you acquire, but it should have, it's exactly like classical singing and an amateur singing. A classical musician, when he sings a particular raga. The raga has got a frequency. He sings within that swara. In that he goes on and on and on and on and on. If he can do, how much he can go along defines his expertise in music. Now, when you sing, how is it? Rather, when I sing, he will start somewhere, go somewhere else, land in some position, no Shruti. Now, our problem is what? I say immediately, look here, if I have to sing, switch off that Shruti. If you switch it off, I can sing. A classical musician says what? I cannot sing without that frequency being fixed. Now, Vedanta says, first fix that frequency. First get the right direction and then pursue whatever you are pursuing. There is nothing wrong in the pursuit of things. It is the way you are pursuing. Remember, it is not what you do that matters. It is how you do it. It's not what you are doing. Remember, we all go by what we do in life, isn't it? Everywhere we are defined based on what. Now, when I say this, what I mean is, when I am looking for an alliance for my daughter, I get two proposals. One, excellent driver. Another one, lousy doctor. Whose proposal I will take first? Doctor or driver? I'll say doctor is better. Does it matter? Why? But in Vedanta class, we will say what? It is not what you do that matters, how you do it. But when it comes to, this is how we live life, divorced from our knowledge. In the class, in an intellectual discussion time, all of us will discuss saying what? How you do that matters, man. But when it comes to your life, you close the book and you go out and start living your life. Immediately you say what? This man is better. This is inferior. This is, I'm not saying economics wise, please. Economics wise, of course, doctor will be earning X amount. Driver will be paid this much only. Now you can't say driver also should be paid the same amount. That is not possible. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about. The way I look at them, the moment I say, he's an engineer. Wow. He's a doctor. Yeah, great. We judge people based on what? We understand people based on what they do more. But philosophically speaking, intellectually speaking, all of us will take a stand. It is not what I do, man. It is how it is done. Intention matters. But when it comes to life, we will not say that. You see, that is why Vedanta gives first fix the parameters. Once the parameters were fixed appropriately, then it is easier for you to live your life the way you are supposed to be living, the way you can conduct yourself. What is a parameter? That's where he gives a beautiful equation. If you see life, what is happening is this. See this carefully. This is the equation of life, where this OA represents your evolution, how much you have grown, how much you have fixed your parameters clearly. Your evolution is defined from 0 to 100. Correspondingly, the CD, line represents your dependency on the world. Dependency means dependency to be happy. Remember that. When I say dependency on the world, it doesn't mean that you should not have anything from the world. Then immediately you will ask a cross question to me. Ishwaran, are you not dependent on your spectacles? If I remove the specs, I can't see. Not really, yeah, not now. About 15 years back, my eye power was minus 8.5 in one, minus 9 in the other. For me to make the world Maya very easy, all that I have to do is remove my specs. The whole world will become hazy for me. That's all. Very easy. But then one doctor came and said, all that you have to do is go through one surgery. I walk into the surgical room with the specs. I walked out in 10 minutes without specs, zero power. You may be wondering why I'm using this now. This is only to have, if I remove that, it looks very odd, the face. Some, matured face like, you should have, for that we keep it. That's about it. So, that's not what we are referring to. If I am able to communicate to you all sitting at my house, how? I am dependent on the internet. I am dependent on the computer. I am dependent on that YouTube. I am dependent on that Zoom, about which I have no clue. Same way, you are also dependent on all these things for you to listen this lecture. This is all happening, no? How is it? And that's what we say. Dependence here means you are dependent on the world for happiness. Put that within brackets. I have not deliberately put it. You see, it's not there deliberately. It is you who have to add that within brackets. So anytime you hear the word, the spiritual people are all independent, that means it is not that he becomes independent, means he doesn't have to eat anything from the world. Automatically his body will generate things and all that, please. It doesn't work that way. Independent of the world means he is not dependent on something from the world to give him happiness. Now that ratio is what you see here. When you are 0% developed spiritually, you are 100% dependent on the world. When you are 100% evolved, then 0% is your dependency. That's the equation. Okay. Now what we understand is, none of us belong to either 0 or 100 in our scale of evolution. We don't belong to either 100 or others. Somewhere in between. Assuming that you are 25% evolved, then your dependency on the world is 75. When I say dependency, what we mean is, I need a car for myself, a car for my wife, a car for my servant, a car for my daughter, for all of us, and then a spare car should be there in the house, so that we are not having any problem. So what is needed, sir? I need five cars, and then I need about X amount of money in the bank, and then I need this, I need this, I need this. You put all those things put together, that is called a 75. Okay. Now, mark me carefully now. I am evolved 25. I require 75. If I am having that 75, I am balanced. Meaning, I will look normal. I will look okay. I don't have any problems in life. Whereas, when I need 75, I possess only 50, let's say. My evolution is 25. I need 75, but I have only 50, which means there is a short of minus 25. That minus 25 is what we call as stress. You see, now whenever you are having minimum evolution, maximum stress you will experience in life. Because to acquire all that and to retain all that I require without anything missing demands tremendous amount of effort, demands a lot out of me, which is not possible. Therefore, always I will fall short. That falling short is called as hell. How is life going, sir? Hell, man. Means what? He needs that much for him to be normal, but he is having only this much. That is called stress. That's called hell. Okay. Then comes another category of a person. He says he is slightly more evolved. Okay. Next category. I'm just changing it. You can use the same example also, but I'm just changing it so that it's easy to understand. There is a person who is at 50. Now we all know when he is 50, what he needs, sir, he needs 50. Okay. Imagine that fellow who is at 50, who needs 50, but he possesses 75. What happens to his case? He is in heaven, they say, because of surplus 25. Okay. Like this, the equation keeps happening. Okay. Now, there is an individual. You are standing somewhere, wherever you can be in your life. You can be experiencing heavenly life right now or a hellish life right now. Why your life is like that, sir? Vedanta says it's because of this balancing. Now, what Vedanta does is it helps you to work on both the lines parallelly. To resolve the problem, what you can do? Either you can work on CD or you can work on AB. Either case you can do. What is happening in most of our life is most of us know how to work with reference to CD, how to earn more, how to increase our comforts, how to do all these things. This dimension of it we have learned to some extent at least through our education, through skill and enhancement and all those things that we have done. Whereas hardly we have worked on the other direction of how do you move from A towards B. Thereby, it is not enough for you to lead a normal life. You have to lead a blissful life. What is a blissful life, sir? Heavenly abode means my demands are less, but my possessions are much more. I am so happy traveling by metro train. Take a cycle, go park there, take the metro, go to office, go wherever I want to go. I finish my work, come back, cycle. That's all I require. But I have 3 cars in my house. That sort of a life if a person leads, that is called heavenly life. Now Vedanta says human life should be lived like that. If you want to live like that, from where you should begin? He says you have to begin from where you are standing. Exactly like when somebody is asking a direction to come to your house, first question you ask them is, where are you right now? isn't it? Unless he tells where he is, how can you give a direction to him? Imagine he says, I am calling from New York. How do I come to your house? Vis-a-vis a person who says, I am in Jayanagar. How do I come to your house? How can you give the same direction? The directions will vary, no? How you speak to this person, how you speak to this person. Same way, Vedanta says, if you have to reach to that destination of yours, which is infinite bliss, happiness, God, realization, whatever words you want, you use it. It doesn't matter which term you are going to use it. If that is your final abode, and remember, this is not the abode Vedanta wants you to go and reach. Remember that. That is the abode you want to reach. Only problem is you know not how to reach and where to search for it. You see, that's the only problem. Now, that's all you need from Vedanta. Vedanta need not come and give you the ideal, the destination. You need Vedanta to define a path to you, methodology to you, the technology to be given to you. How am I to reach there? That's what I want. Where I want to reach is already fixed. How he gives a beautiful example. One of, there are few examples which, struck very hard to me when I heard, he says, see, you take a coil spring, 4 feet height. If you take a coil spring of 4 feet height, you compress that to 2 feet. We experience there is a pressure, my palm pushing upwards. I release it to 3. Pressure is there, but now the pressure is less. I release to 3.5. Less pressure. Release to 4. No pressure. Why no pressure, sir? Because the spring has reached its original position. Now, all of us are pressurized to seek happiness. And the pressure keeps varying from person to person. And upon realization, upon reaching that state, there is no more pressure experienced by that individual to seek more pleasure. No more pressure in him to seek. Therefore, we understand what? That is my original status. Infinite bliss is my original nature. Till I reach that state, I will not be rest contented. There will be pressure experienced within me, within every individual, anyone in the world. It doesn't matter who you are. You can be even president of a country, or you can be the chairman of a World Bank also. Still, you will also experience the pressure. The problem is we attribute that pressure to the situations in the world. We think the pressure is because of that situation. Like I heard, a lot of people telling me in, initial corona, this corona is destroyed, corona destroyed. I said, hey, January, were you not having any problem in your life? When I spoke to you in Jan, you were speaking about some other problem. Okay. Now you are talking about corona. 2021, if I ask you on the same date, September 1, 2021, if I ask you, you will not say corona is my problem. You will say something else as your problem. And you think that is what is causing that pressure. Now Vedanta says, no, that is not what is causing the pressure, man. It is you are not in your original position. So long as you are not in your original position, there will be pressure experienced within. Don't attribute it to something outside. It's nothing to do with that, please. It is to do with you not being in your original state. Now, how to get back to that original state is called religion, is called yoga. Sooner you get back, better for you. More you delay, more the pressure is. It's exactly like you fall from the first step in the staircase. One thing. You fall from the fourth step, the staircase, another thing. You fall from the 400th step. It's quite another. Effect is not same, please. You see, it varies. So don't delay further, please. You see, do it. Right now you have to do it. As early as possible. You go. Then comes how you go about it. Vedanta says, now you have to start from where you are. Right now, where are you, sir? I am in the 400th step. What do you have to do now? From there, you have to come. That's how Vedanta proceeds. Vedanta moves from what is known to what is unknown. Today, what is known to all of us, what is that you can understand today is the world around you, that we can understand. Animals can't understand that. Only we understand that. You see, animals don't understand what is happening around them. That is why a fellow takes two goats and he ties that, in the pole and gives some grass, leaves. He puts some leaves and says, eat. One customer walks in and he unties one goat, takes it inside. After some time, the goat is brought outside and hung. And this goat is seeing all that. The second goat is seeing all those things. But what is the second goat is doing? He is so happy. What? Now there is no competition. I can eat the whole thing to myself. What that fellow doesn't understand is what? It's just a question of next customer walking in. One more customer walks in. What is my state? Before this food that I am consuming right now being digested, my life is hanging in air. He doesn't understand all those things. That's why he just lives. You see, he doesn't. Whereas a human is not like that. The moment we saw there is a group of people getting infection, instantly we picked up, isn't it? Immediately we recognized this same problem can come to the whole thing, and it can come to the whole thing when we say what? It can come to India. If it can come to India, it can come to Karnataka. If it can come to Karnataka, it can come to Bangalore. It can come to Bangalore. It can come to Hebbal. It can come to Hebbal. It can come to my apartments. If it can come to my apartments, it can come to my house. If it can come to my house, it can come to me. Therefore, what to do? Much before it can reach me, I start preparing myself. See, this understanding only human has. Animals don't have it, unfortunately. Or fortunately, I don't know, whatever it is. They don't have it, we have it. That's all. Now, what is known to us is what? The world. We understand the world. Same way, we also understand what is happening within us. Isn't it? Animals don't understand that. Animals cannot understand what is happening to them. You see, Animal doesn't have the understanding that now I am feeling hungry. It doesn't understand. Now I am getting the urge to play. Now I am getting the urge to do this. Now I am getting the urge to mate. Nothing of that sort. It doesn't actually understand. It is so empty. Animals are so empty internally. It feels that. It's not that they are not feeling it. Remember, I'm not saying they are not feeling it. They feel it. But do they recognize that feeling? Do they understand that urge between sadness and frustration, anger? Those who have pets will know that. Every pet experiences that. But they don't understand it. This is what happening to me. They don't understand. Now I am pregnant. It doesn't understand that. Animals cannot have that. Humans alone have the capacity to recognize what is happening around, also recognize what is happening within. Okay. Now Vedanta proceeds from here. Vedanta says, okay, man, understand the world first properly. What is the world? Now, we are not going into science, remember. This is where people make a mistake. As far as we are concerned, we just see the world with a naked eye. What do we recognize it as? What is there outside in the world? Now, there's somebody asked a quick question. I'll just read it out. Vedanta says you should not be dependent on the world for happiness. No. Vedanta is not saying you should not be. Vedanta only says you need not be dependent on the world. There's a world of difference between the two statements. I repeat my statement. Vedanta is not saying you should not be dependent. Vedanta only says you need not be dependent on the world for your happiness. In fact, that's the dignity and prestige of a human being, not to be dependent on the world for happiness. Then the question comes, how do you reconcile this with the healthy ambition to be successful? Now, ambition to be successful, when we say, it should not be in a state where, how do we say? Okay. See, a husband comes back from office and the wife says, hey, can we go out for dinner tonight? The husband says, excellent idea, let's go. Why? Internally, the husband thinks, at least one day let me have a good meal. Right? Imagine, nothing wrong in going out as a couple, you see, but you should not be going to a restaurant because the cooking in the house is so horrible. That is all Vedanta says. Today, our problem is, if I am not getting this, I cannot be happy. I cannot be normal. I feel so miserable without that car, without that house, without that lady, without that being, without this, without that. If we don't go out, I read somewhere, a few years back, an article, almost like a suicide note. A German businessman committed suicide. Why? Because he could not change his helicopter. As far as you people are concerned, when you hear that, you will be wondering, Hari, is he mad? Why you have to change helicopter once in Every year he used to change. Now he is not able to change. For the last 3 years, he could not change his helicopter. He says, my life is miserable. How can I live with the same helicopter, he says. Now you will be thinking what? What's wrong with that fellow? But your point will be, sir, how can I have the same mobile phone? See, each one, you think changing that mobile phone is legitimate. Whereas changing helicopter is greedy. There is another fellow who will be standing there. You see, he will say, having that mobile phone itself is greedy. And then you fellows are having 2 mobile phones with dual SIM. Oh, 4 SIMs. I say, how do you make calls? One fellow showed me a mobile phone. He says it can have 6 SIM cards. I said, for what you need 6 SIM cards? Because anyway, a fellow calls from another SIM card, it becomes deactivated automatically. There's no point. And there is a danger, I said, because if I give you that number, you will call me. If I don't take the call, you would take it as what? It must be in his missed call. He will call me back. You see? Now, if this is not there, the problem is not there. You can't be having things not because it is giving you so much of agitation. You are so contented, satisfied with what you have, and then aspire for more. Our problem is, unless you are dissatisfied with what you have right now, you cannot seek. And there is a small minority in the name of spiritual say, I am contented, sir, and they don't seek. When I ask them, what is your contentment? That's interesting. What is contentment for all of us? You say, yeah, I am leading a contented life. Means what? Follow me carefully. Contentment to you means, can you call this as contentment? You just think for yourself. Okay. I say, I am living a contented life. That means I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. All these things I have. Okay. These things I have, I am satisfied. I don't want that. But none of these things should be taken away from me. You're all with me? You see, to me, contentment means I have a house, I have a car, I have a 2-wheeler, I have this, I have some investments, I have this, all these things I have. I don't want one more house, I don't want one more car, I don't want one more, that I don't want. But nothing of this should be taken away from me. If any one of this is taken away from me, I collapse. Do you call that as contentment? See, contentment means, even if all these things were pulled out of me, I can stand. That is called contentment. Vedanta says, attain that contentment first, then aspire. Otherwise, your aspirations will become a dependency for you. And your own aspirations will start causing agitation to you, disturbance to you. That is what the advice of Vedanta is. Now, a lot of people think, since Vedanta is talking about contentment, they think, oh, if you are a spiritual person, means you should not be aspiring for anything. No. Vedanta says you aspire, but your aspirations should not be stemming from your discontented state, nor it should be your complacency. I have these things, all that, I don't want more, is a complacent state. That's not content state, please. So Vedanta is not against it. Vedanta says you seek, you aspire for it, but Don't aspire it out of your weakness, out of your dependency. Seek out of your strength. Gain that strength. Like, old man or a person who had a fractured leg has a walker. One. There are people, for a look, they carry a walking stick. Have you seen? Walk with a walking stick with that majesty. They go. It's not that if you take that walking stick, he will fall, he'll collapse. It's not that. He holds it. But at the same time, he carries that with him. He walks with a walking stick, but he is not walking because of the walking stick. That's a difference. Now, this is what Vedanta wants. Our problem is complacency or dependency. Vedanta says neither of these two aspire in life. How do you go about it, sir? It says starts from understanding what is world made up of. What is world? Generally, now we don't go to a detailed analysis like how science is doing. Now science does a detailed analysis. I'll say simple thing. In Vedanta, we'll say world is made up of 5 elements: space, air, fire, water, earth. Okay. You go to chemistry, he says there are 114 elements. Huh? Now, who is correct? 5 is correct or 114 correct? He said, please remember, the analysis is done depending upon what is the agenda of that subject. Vedanta as a subject has a particular agenda. What is the agenda of Vedanta? To help you to get back to your original nature, to experience that infinite joy that you are aspiring. This is the agenda. For that, they need to understand what is the world. This much of analysis is enough for it. It doesn't have to go through the difference. He doesn't have to understand oxygen is different, hydrogen is different, helium is different. He will put all that put together. He will say as one. What's it? All this is what? Vayu, air. Problem solved for him. He doesn't have to worry about these details. But when you go to chemistry, the agenda is very different. The purpose of that subject is very different. Therefore, they go through more detailed analysis. Now here, these people don't go through the detailed analysis. There, they have that analysis. Therefore, detailed study. Physics will do detailed study. Chemistry will do detailed study. Biology will do detailed study. Botany will do detailed study. We don't worry about all those things. We say world is made up of what? Basically, there are two things in the world. Day after in the class, I will explain more. Okay. I will just say what is there. Essentially, world is made up of two things: objects, living beings. That's all. Minerals and living beings. Living beings were classified into 3: plant, animals, human. In animals, we are including what, sir? Fish is also animal, lion is also animal, and eagle is also animal as far as we are concerned. We don't bother in the division. That is one. Snake also we include here. Mosquito also gets included in this. Everything gets included in this. Remember, plants, animals, human. So world is made up of what? 4 things: objects, plant, animal, human. We need to know what is the basic structure and the basic nature of these 4 things. What is the nature, on what basis we are going to classify them, how we have to read that. How science will read is very different. Remember that. Okay, don't mix up. A lot of people get these things mixed up. Don't mix up those things, please. Science will study in one way, we study in another way. What are the things we study? Study the world. World is studied with four things: objects, beings. In beings we have three: animal, human. How? You will see in the next class. Okay, thank you.